Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, Cretans.
The original Cretan himself is here again.
Yep.
Boy, it seems a long time since we were last doing a show, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, can't remember when it's seemed longer.
Right, right. Um, yeah, it has been a challenging, couple of years, I want to say.
Yeah,
Health wise and, just the world, catching on fire and people getting sick. And
that's
it's
for
been a
sure.
strange time. I mean, right now we're having trouble getting any cans whatsoever to the product.
Yeah. I heard
We're
about that.
getting shorted on CO2, in order to, you know, so it's just absolute insanity, and everyone always thought, oh, hops are going to be the hard thing. Now they planted a lot of hops. Now there's a ton of hops, but then now the breweries are closing. So it's it's just it's it's a fascinating, you know, uh, it's like watching a car wreck at times.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's like in slow motion. It's like, yeah, this is going to happen.
yeah. It's strange. I mean, the can shortage, but I guess everybody is looking to package in cans all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, just because I guess it's more beer at home versus out at restaurants, and or I guess
Right.
maybe glass is the preferred package.
Well, and now they're packaging wine in cans and
Right.
seltzer and everything else, and so
Yeah.
everybody's putting things in cans, and it's just, yeah, it's just gone crazy. Um,
Yeah. Now, what's up with the CO2 shortage? I
yeah.
read something about that.
So, what has happened with that is, the vast majority of CO2 in this country comes from the production of ethanol.
Right.
So the ethanol fuel that is made in this country, the vast majority of ethanol goes into making fuel
Yeah.
as a fuel additive, and so that's where all our CO2 comes from. With the pandemic, people stopped driving, and with the cutback in driving and improved mileage and things like that, apparently the CO2 production started to suffer, and there wasn't a whole lot of excess. And when people stopped driving, the production went down. I guess a couple of plants went down for one reason or another, maybe
Right.
pandemic related. And so now is apparently the worst time of it. So we're just barely getting enough to exist. So,
Wow. That's interesting. It's funny how everything's related like that.
right, right. Yeah, the interdependence of human beings and our technologies and the things we want. It's just very strange. It's like,
It's like
uh,
our good friend John Blickman.
very strange. Yes, yes.
In
Uh,
related strange.
yeah,
Uh,
it's in related strangeness, our friend John Blickman. Yeah, he is quite strange at times, and actually quite funny. He's always always
that's
quite
true.
strange and funny. Going out, one of my favorite memories was, I think it was at CBC, and you and Blickman and I, and there was somebody else I think going with us, and we
Chris White, maybe.
went,
Yeah.
maybe, and we were going. This is some years ago, and we got on the metro, and we headed out to go to some bourbon place, or we
That
went to a
was
number of
the
places. First we
yeah.
went and had dinner at some place
Yeah.
that was pretty fancy, and I think and Blickman picked up the tab for it. It was quite
Hmm.
expensive.
Yeah.
And then we motored our
Whiskey bar.
way down to like a whiskey or bourbon bar, and I
Yeah.
think I paid for that.
Yeah. I think you did.
um
Yeah.
and then I think, and that's when we saw like a raccoon or something.
Yep. A
Giant
couple of
raccoon
raccoons fighting or something. Yeah.
right near the whiskey bar.
Yeah.
And And then like on the way back, were the trains still running, or maybe they weren't running at a certain point? I remember
Yeah.
it was like getting back was a little bit of a chore.
Yeah.
And
Last run of the night or something like that.
right, we just barely caught it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we had I have a picture of you two like cuddling on the metro train, as I recall. Yes, a very interesting picture. I'm gonna have to dig that up.
I'd like to see. I don't remember that part, but yeah, sure.
we we had all had a few drinks by that time, I want to say.
Several whiskeys, very high quality whiskeys.
This is before the whiskeys.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there was probably some beer involved too then.
Yeah, I think the whole day had beer involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, fun times. And then the Frank's Noodle House.
Yep.
You were skeptical at some house in the middle of nowhere. They have
Yeah.
Great noodles.
They had great noodles there.
I'm just saying, if you're ever in Portland, you want to go to Frank's Noodle House and get yourself some hand pulled noodles. I like it when they hand pull the noodle. You know, really,
Do it right there in front of you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do it right in front of you, and it's fresh. I mean, they don't. Your noodle isn't pulled until you're standing right there. You know, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, like our friend John Blickman. Check out blickmanengineering.com. They got all sorts of great gear there. No matter what your skill level or what you're attempting to do, especially now they're doing a lot of pro level, brew plants. If you want to open a brewery, you do yourself a favor and check out Blickman Engineering, because they're always trying to make a brew plant that will do better and improve your brew day. So check them out, blickmanengineering.com, and you can send an email if you got a chance to feedback@blickmanengineering.com. Tell John Blickman how much you appreciate he's paying for the show so you don't have to. All right. So today, Bevo says, "Oh Lord," I'm assuming that was she's not been to Frank's Noodle House. I'd like to.
Really not.
I would like to show her the noodles at Frank's Noodle House. See, so she could see the noodle getting pulled.
Right.
So maybe she could learn to do it.
Get some of the spicy sauce to go with it, and she'll be all set.
Oh yeah, maybe she could learn noodle pulling. Today, a good friend of mine, yours as well, I think, Neil Spake.
Oh yeah.
He had written in back. Let's see. This is Monday, May 4th, 2015.
Okay. Yeah. Good year, 2015.
Yeah. I'm just saving a few of these. Biva says she'll skip. It's a hard pass on Frank's Noodle House. You're missing out. It is delicious.
Sam would love it too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's see. He says, "Hello, Jamil and John. Once again, thanks so much for having me on the show. I had a blast. I think the episode turned out well, better than I expected, actually. It was truly an honor to contribute again. Apparently, we had him on the show sometime around 2015.
Scottish ales, I think.
Quite possible. I had another idea for a future episode. He said, it's something I am really, really curious about. The topic is the art of hop blending. To clarify, how do commercial brewers come up with a mix of hops for any given beer? I was recently reviewing the New Belgium website, as I have had a few of their newer beers recently. When I see things like a mix of Nugget, Liberty, Nelson Sauvin, and Cascade, or Styrian Golding, Admiral, Citra, and Galaxy, I wonder how they experimented to come up with the mix they finally chose. And like I always asked in the Can You Brew It interviews, what percentage of the bittering comes from the actual bitter addition compared to the later copper hops? Jamal, I'm sure you and Chris have experience in this area for sure. John probably as well. We're starting to see quite a variation in the types of mixes of hops used. It's a fascinating subject. I'm not sure how you structure a show on the topic, but I, for one, would love to hear some ideas. Yeah, yeah. Hop layering or blending or combining multiple kinds of hops um, can have a significant impact on the beer. The quite popular is smash, single malt, single hop
Yeah.
beers. And the purpose of them is to see what a hop gives you, see what an individual malt gives you, and that's a really nice way to kind of get an idea of a hop. But for example, when you use a single hop in a beer, sometimes and you want to get the hop character right, especially something that's a hoppy beer. If you're making a robust porter, you really just need a good clean bittering for that. You don't want a bunch of hop flavor. If you're making perhaps a Bohemian Pilsner or something like that that has hop character to it, maybe then you do want to blend one hop with another. Most of the time people will just come with one hop and they'll won't get the hop character they're looking for. It could be a bit dull, could be even adding more doesn't really get you the character. It's just kind of more of the same thing, and it's kind of missing a dimension to it. So that's the reason why you want to add more hops and kind of combine different hops to get different character. Let's do this. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will talk more about blending hops for better hop flavor and aroma. Right after this, we're back, and we're if you need to use the little boys room, John, you should have thought of that before we got in the car, right?
You're right. You're right.
Right. You know how long a car ride this is. If it's an emergency, absolutely go ahead and go, and I will keep talking on my own.
Okay.
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 I can do it. You
right.
know me. I can talk for an hour without anybody.
Make it so.
All right. I will. You should have a little piss bucket next to your desk there. So, interesting thing about hop additions or hop combinations is that they aren't simply additive. You have a variety of compounds, these hop oils, these hop terpenes and acids that when added together, they're actually sometimes more than the sum of their parts. It's sometimes it can be subtractive, right? So you get a negative result. You're looking for to add more tropical character to a beer. You started with Citra and Mosaic and you want to get it more tropical, and you think you're going to add perhaps Sabro or something and make for a more tropical character, and you throw in a few other things, and voila, it has actually subtracted some of the character you're looking for. So as well, you can't just throw in a ton of different hops trying to hit all the possible combinations. What happens is it's very similar to trying to mix paints. You like the color green, you like the color blue, you like the color red, you like the color orange, you like the color yellow, and you decide all of them together would look beautiful. And so you mix it together, and what do you get? Brown. And the same sort of thing can happen with hops. You like all these flavors, and it's the same thing for malts as well. You like all these flavors, you pile them all together, and what you end up with is kind of a muddy mess. So you need to be thinking about what exactly you're trying to achieve. I will tell you one of the coolest things. It's not up to date. I don't think Scott has really. Scott could really update this thing with a lot more data. It has mostly hops from like 2014 or whatever it was. There was a study that he built this hop calculator on, hop oil calculator. It's at scottjanish.com, hop-oils-calculator. And what it is there's a column on one side, and you can add in, what hop you're working with. Let's say Citra, Cascade, and a couple others, and then you tell it how much of each you're using, and it will even generate a spider graph for you and suggest what the character of the resulting beer is going to be, right? So citrusy and floral and all that. I ran. Let's see, the one that Neil mentioned, Nugget, Liberty, Nelson Sauvin, and Cascade, and it's generally a green and fruity citrus type character that they were going for. So it's really fascinating. It's a cool tool, but it's missing a lot of the non-US and most recent hops out there. So that's kind of a cool way to, if you want to get an idea of what a hop combination is going to give you. So, as I mentioned, the adding another hop can be additive. It can be, it can subtract some of the character that you're looking for, or it can kind of, even mutate into something else. The addition of some compounds will kind of heighten other compounds. So you're looking for combinations essentially that are going to, I think mostly people want to kind of intensify the hop character. It's almost always what people are looking for. And the intensity of hop character, if you're looking for something piney, then it's better, instead of using just one pine forward hop, maybe you select another one that is pine forward, or that has maybe some complementary flavors in a way of supporting it. There's hops that could be more supplemental, where you are looking for flavors that kind of are along the same line. Something that's piney, maybe you find something that's also woody. If you're looking for, let's say, a tropical fruit character, and you've already got some kind of passion fruit kind of thing going on, maybe you layer in another hop that has a little bit more mango forward. Maybe you layer in a hop that gives some pineapple notes or some coconut notes, and all those will add to the overall impression of tropical fruit. You can look for complementary flavors, like for the example of pine. Maybe there's a mint. If you find a hop that's kind of minty and you add that, the pine and the mint are complementary. If you're trying to make a beer citrusy, to get that intensity, you use hops that have got orange, lemon, things like that. But you can also complement it with, maybe something floral. So you're looking at these, hop compounds, and you're trying to come up with combinations that are either supportive or intensifying the flavors that you're looking for. And that's what the hop layering is, where if you're just loading in hops without thinking about what's in there, and you can have fun with it. You can try a couple hops together. One thing you could do is perhaps brew several beers with dry hop, a beer, and then dry hop separately a bunch of different samples. It's one of the things we do here at Heretic, is when we get new hops in, we'll take our lager and then we'll dry hop the lager with samples of the new hops. And then we'll also sample, new crops. We'll also sample, make a bunch of these samples together. And then one of the things we like to do is rank and rate those hops, write descriptors for them, and then try some blends. And you can actually blend the liquids and see how they work together. And it's very surprising how you can add a little bit of one compound or another, one hop or another, and the compounds in it will all of a sudden pop, much more than the sum of the parts, like we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the ways that we do it here. I'm sure there's a much more scientific way and less, just beer tasting way. One of the things, let's see, if you take a look at that calculator that Scott has, the thing is, it doesn't really tell you what some of the compounds are. It's kind of like some of the water calculators out there. So it's really cool. And I think it really is helpful if, we were to update that and make that more current. I think it actually has a value to it. Let's see. Some of those things, carpholine, caryophyllene.
Caryophyllene.
Yeah. Caryophyllene. It's kind of spicy, woody, peppery. Citronello, citrusy, fruity. Humulene is kind of that woody beer.
Yeah.
Flavor.
Hoppy, woody.
Hoppy, and people describe it as hoppy. Linalool, floral, orange. Myrcene, green, resinous, piney. Pinene, alpha pinene, more cedar and pine. Beta pinene, woody, green pine. A lot of these compounds, you can Google them and see what they are. But I think Scott had another sheet on his website that listed kind of the values of certain compounds in the various hops, and it's extremely helpful, I would think, because you can look at that, and if you're looking for you want to get something with a lemon citrus type of character, and you want to add that to your pine character or your floral or your fruity tropical, it gives you an idea of what hops to go for, instead of the hop descriptions that. And nowadays, you admit, all the hop descriptions say tropical fruit. Even hops that never said tropical fruit before now say tropical fruit. Somewhere in there, they say tropical fruit. And they'll say citrus or things like that. So a lot of those descriptors, it's very difficult to see what exactly is going to happen. And by looking at the individual oils, I think you can get a good idea of what hops may fit together in your layering or bundling of hop characters. And or like I was saying, you can do some dry hop tests and then try combining the liquids and see what happens, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good approach. Look at some of the literature out there. Stan Hieronymus's Hops book. Mm-hmm. Many of the presentations that have been posted online, where the principal oils of the hops are listed, and then try to pick hops that have different concentrations of the oils. I need to look at Scott Janis's calculator. I haven't had a chance to review that. I think this is such a new area of understanding how the various oils can combine and the synergy that we can get from them. I know in one of Stan Hieronymus's presentations that he's done, he talks about the combination of 3 hops. I'm just kind of scrolling through here to create a replacement for Amarillo, I believe it was. And so by combining, Citra and Simcoe, they were able to come up with a very, very good substitute for Amarillo, because of the different proportions of oils that the two hops had, could create that flavor. So, yeah, and there's when I blend hops, I'm usually looking for those differences, the contrast in the complementary characters. If this hop is floral and fruity, I'll look for one that's maybe spicy and fruity, or floral and spicy. Get a character that's in common, and then as well as one that's different.
Yeah, let's see here. Leaf is asking, what kind of hop mix would you use for let's say, a California IPA? I suppose he's talking about the California IPA we're doing.
Yeah, yours.
So yeah, that's Columbus in the bittering, in 60-minute, and then Idaho 7, Mosaic, and Cascade throughout the late hop, whirlpool, dry hopping. We use all of those.
Now, what's the character of Idaho 7?
Idaho 7, fruity, a little bit of pine, a little bit of resin.
So it's not one of the Neo-Mexicanas types, with the which they have a very prominent fruit, pineapple kind of character, I think.
Yeah, let's see here. What do I say for Idaho 7? Piney, tropical fruit, citrusy, earthy, floral flavors and aromas.
Okay.
Just like all of them say now. Tropical fruits, and it all of a sudden became in every hop.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. If you're looking for flavors in hops, it's like every hop has every flavor, just in different amounts. I think you can hunt for them or whatever. What would you put in a good West Coast IPA? Not
Yeah.
huge double, but just like a standard drinker around 6 to.
Well, I'm old school, so I would go with a Cascade Centennial blend as my baseline. I may throw in some Columbus to get a little bit more of the sulfur character. And Amarillo is another favorite hop of mine. Citra also does very nice in adding that third dimension to, an otherwise classic West Coast IPA kind of hop profile, the Cascade Centennial Columbus 5Cs. But you throw in a little Citra and it seems to brighten it, add some berry and melon character. It takes it into that third dimension of flavor. I think so. Those are what I would go with.
I tell you one place you can get a bunch of these hops. Good friends out in Reno or Sparks, Nevada. Brew Chatter. Those folks, you can even order from them online. Brewchatter.com. They've got a ton of very fresh, well maintained hops that are properly packaged for shipping, and you can check that out. Or if you're out there ever in Reno, you got to go by. It's a great shop, and they even have a little bar in there where you can get pints of beer as you shop, which is really nice. And they always have great, not just homebrews, but they have commercial beers on as well. So lots of cool stuff available there at our good friends at brewchatter.com. So check them out. Good folks. Lots of good ingredients. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more discussion of hop blending right after this. All right, we're back. We're talking hop blending, hop layering, hop. What would you call it?
I just call it hop blending.
What are all the kids using? What are the kids using these days? What's their
I
terminology?
don't know. Yeah, they're all
How the hip kids, the hip cats.
all the experimental varieties that. Yeah, they still have tropical fruit. Melon seems to be very, very popular in terms of a desired character,
Mhm.
and berries, red berries, blueberries, stone fruit. Um, I found the slide I was looking for earlier that from Stan's presentation, where he's talking about blending different hops to get a character of in this case an alternative to Citra dry hopping is to use 70% Calypso and 30% Bravo. And as an alternative to Simcoe, 50% Eureka, 40% Apollo, and 10% Cascade. So these were blends that were determined by a sensory group doing triangle tests, looking at the oil compositions, and then, looking at the list and saying, okay, maybe some of this, some of that, and arriving at a mixture that tasted very comparable to, this other scarce hop.
Mhm.
So, and I guess the principle is that you can create many different characters from, if you can't get a certain hop you're looking for, then try 2 or even 3, you know, complementary hops that share some of that character and blend them and see if you can arrive at it.
Mhm. And someone asked, how many years ahead is Heretic contracting hops? We used to go as much as 5 years out. With the rapid changes in hop development, hop types, and just questions about whether the planet will still be here in 5 years. We've pulled back. I think the furthest out we are is maybe 3 years now, and that tends to be on core hops like Citra, Mosaic, things like that. So we contract a lot, but not quite as much as we did in the past, or not as long as we did in the past. But the volume's higher, just concentrated in a few hops, and then we'll sprinkle in other hops as we go along. Let's see. Tom was asking, I've got a bunch of Summit. What would you do with it blending wise?
Summit. That's a pretty piney hop, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's got an intensity, and sometimes it's got a lot of onion, garlic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Onion, garlic, pine, and dank.
Yeah, very dank.
I wouldn't use Mosaic with it. What I would do is I would tend to use it at the beginning of fermentation and try to get some biotransformation of the dank character, the transformation of the thiols into more of the floral fruity compounds.
That's an interesting idea. And you might also try combining it with something citrusy, some orange character, lemon character, maybe something floral as well.
Right.
I would look towards those as complements to the Summit hop. What is the most overused and underused hop variety in your opinions? That's a good question. Jimmy asks.
My opinion, overused is Mosaic. Underused, I think a lot of the American nobles like Liberty, Mount Hood, Sterling, is another. Oh, that's not an American Noble, but I mean, there are some very fine hop characters that really are sitting on the sidelines because everybody is all about IPAs these days.
Right.
If you go back to some of the noble hop aromas, the English hop aromas, there's some very lovely hops sitting out there.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with you. Maybe Citra, Mosaic, they tend to be heavily used these
Yep.
days. Um, so overused, yeah, I guess, because they do really add a lot of kind of punch to IPAs, and so that's what's. It'd be nice to make beers without Citra and Mosaic.
Yeah.
Underused, I'd say, along the same lines as you, John. I would agree with that as well. And I think, underappreciated might be some of the classic British hops.
Yeah.
I think that they don't see much use here in the U.S., which is a shame because there's some really nice hops there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, also, it was going to be, if you asked me a few years ago, back when Cashmere came out, and they pulled all the Cashmere. They weren't going to grow it anymore. It was like a huge failure. And I'm like, no, Cashmere's really good. And luckily, people listened, and we saved it. And so Cashmere is now quite a popular hop.
Oh, good. Good.
And it's
Yeah, that was
funny
nice.
how, hops go from, in the doghouse when, it's just that nobody really tried them or appreciated them. They come out
Yeah.
with so many new hops, we're not getting a chance to really fully evaluate it and talk about them. So
Yeah.
it's just, if, there were probably 10 other great hops that they planted a small field of it. They tested with some brewers, and the brewers said, and because those brewers didn't like it,
Yeah.
nobody gets to have it. So
Yeah.
that's a
It's like
real
Vinny and Simcoe. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ted asks, what is the largest blend you would use? 5 varieties? It's a good question.
Yeah. I think you can do 5 if you're doing similar hops, like the 5 Cs, Cascade, Centennial, Columbus, etc.
Right.
If you're looking to achieve, I don't know, some complexity with different varieties, like an English plus a Australian plus a German or something like that, I'd keep it to 3 max, because you're getting very different characters, and you may get some nice synergy, but you may throw something else up that's doesn't appeal to you. And I think and your analogy to paint and mud is very apt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll do beers here where we will have 5 varieties in it, and but I can't think of a beer that we did more than that. I think that pretty much maxes it out. Although we're doing more 5 variety beer or hop combinations now than we ever had in the past. Before, it would be 2 or 3 on most occasions, and then it really did become a necessity to go to 5. And there's a couple of reasons. One is like we're talking about, layering in the hop character, and like John says, you want to keep it to similar characters. If you're going to use that many, you can do complementary, and you can do supplementary, and you can do additions to intensify, but you have to just be careful. You don't want to just go 5 all over the board. 5 with a plan in place. But one of the advantages of that for a commercial brewer, and even for a home brewer, is you have a beer that you really like and you love the hop character that you've developed. By developing it with 5 different hops, if if you have trouble getting one of the hops or another one of the hops, you can replace it with a couple of different hops that have a similar character, and it's much less noticeable. It becomes, because they're supporting each other, you just need to find another hop that has, certain compounds in it, and then you can use that. Maybe use a little bit more, a little bit less, just depends. And that's been really helpful for us when there were the terrible hop shortages. Instead of, you never want to come out with a beer that has a single hop in it, or where you declare the hops in it, because it's just going to change for a variety of reasons. And you don't want to, have yourself stuck where you can't make a beer because there's no hops available anymore, or then you have to tell people you changed it, or, it's better to, leave yourself some flexibility there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andre is asking, why haven't we had an episode of JC's Medical Corner recently? We're in a damn pandemic. We need our vital health news. Oh yeah, Jay-Z's Medical Corner. I don't know. I haven't had anything. Have I had anything swell up recently, or drop off, or turn a weird color? I don't know. I am dealing with an immune disorder that is kind of jacking me up. And actually, so they've been dealing with this I've been on like high levels of steroids for a year plus. And then they moved me over to, because you can't be on that for very long. It thins out your tissues, including things like your colon, which, that's no bueno. So they're taking me off of that, and then move me on to something that makes all my hair fall out. Huh? That's a nice side benefit. I was looking at chunks of hair in the drain.
Well, I guess you've cut down on your waxing budget then, huh?
Exactly. Well, unfortunately, it's the wrong hair that's falling out. Oh. No, what was the drug they put me on? They put me on this drug that was supposed to help, and it actually has done pretty much nothing but make my hair fall out. And so I'm having troubles, even worse troubles with my lungs and my heart, because it makes these granulomas in your lungs and your heart. And so since that was a complete failure, now they're like, okay, we have this chemotherapy drug, which didn't really work well as a chemotherapy drug, but now we're using it for what you have, it's just sarcoid. And so the problem with that is you have to go in and get, like these 3-hour infusions at the hospital, which, that's unpleasant. So there's a new alternative, which they really just fairly recently have started trying this on sarcoidosis, which is Humira. You may see that on TV, where they're talking about rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this is this biologic immunosuppressant, I guess, or whatever it is. They're like, yeah, we'll give that a try. Some people in Sweden used it, and they said it was pretty good. So the thing of that is I have to inject myself with this. So I've been doing that lately. So fun times.
Yeah.
And then luckily I read on the internet, I Googled, when's the best time to give yourself Humira? It's like, do it on a Friday afternoon after work, and then you have the whole weekend to recover. I'm like, oh, great. Sure enough, man, that just made me hot and a horrible headache and a terrible fatigue. And it's like, pretty much killed my weekend. But yeah. So I'm trying that now. And that is $125 after insurance, $125 a shot.
Wow. And you do it every week?
No, every 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I do it on Monday morning. That way you can call in sick to work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my boss is a real hard ass. He'll tell me get into work anyways. So, it is what it is. Pandemic wise, yes. And as far as the pandemic goes, I need to seriously mask up because with all this immune problems, if I get this thing, it's going to kill me for sure. So that plus my heart and lung damage, I'm masking up. And so far I have survived. I have not contracted it.
Good. And at least you can still drink beer.
Yes. Right. Oh no. But some of these medications, it's like, they affect your liver. So you're really not supposed to drink beer, but they never really say how much. They go, yeah, moderate drinking should be okay. Light drinking should be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, all right. I mean, one man's light is another man's heavy. I'm just saying. So
that's right.
It'll be what it'll be. But that's it for JC's Medical Corner at this time. Still kicking. Richard asks, ever tried or were able to get Riwaka hops? I remember the first time I tried Riwaka was in New Zealand, and met up with a couple of guys from the New Zealand Homebrew Club, and they were going to take me around, and they took me to a place, really nice place on the water, and they encouraged me to get a glass of a beer that was made with Riwaka, and I was just like, it tastes like a burnt, rubber boot, like a burnt tire, and I'm like, this is pretty horrible. And they're like, wow, normally it's not, it doesn't have that character. I'm just like, this is like a tire fire. And later on, we were somewhere else, and I can't even think of the name of the place now. Really great brewery in New Zealand, and they had some bottled of the same beer, and they're like, try it again, and sure enough, it tasted beautiful. It had a nice fruit character, and a little bit of pine, and was very pleasant, floral, real pleasant beer. And they said, yeah, the stuff that tastes like a tire fire was probably just too fresh. I'm like, really? So I haven't messed around with Riwaka much, but that's been my experience. How about you, John?
I don't remember. I've had Riwaka, and I think I liked it. I remember it as being a tropical punch kind of character with some dankness. But I don't remember it well.
Well, Vince is asking, can Riwaka give a cider or white wine aroma and flavor similar to Nelson?
Probably white wine is not out of the question. I should Google it and see what the current description of it is.
Yeah. I don't know about white wines. I don't think it's similar to Nelson. Boy, yeah, it's been a while on the Riwaka. And generally, we tend not to use some of those hops because expensive, and we have access to other hops that we think kind of do the job.
Okay, I found it. Aroma hop with floral, grapefruit, and passion fruit flavor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of citrusy and piney.
Yeah, I remember the passion fruit aspect. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say the passion fruit is maybe that's what's going from burnt boot to maybe, I don't know. I didn't get a lot of passion fruit out of it, and I think again, everyone's putting whatever tropical fruit in the
moniker
description they can get away with, and usually that'll be like the last one. It's like, yeah, it's very small amounts, but it's there. So you'll see that in every description these days because everybody wants tropical hops. Leaf has a suggestion. He goes, if you're using Summit, I'd use it for a Lagunitas IPA clone with 4 grams of it. I guess, it's a very dank pot like I guess the joke on Lagunitas in there. A little bit of pot going on, I guess. Ben is asking, how do you formulate your hop blends ratios? For example, you've come up with a 3-hop combo. What is your process to determine what amounts of each variety you plan to use? Good question. And the answer to that will be right after this. All right, we're back. Ben had asked a really interesting question about formulating a hop blend. What kind of ratio do you use? Do you have like a standard you start out with, John? So
I usually start out with equal amounts. Just
really
easy on myself. Yeah.
So you don't have to do math?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do half ounce of each kind of thing, for a 5-gallon batch kind of thing.
Half ounce. Jesus, what? Are you on a budget?
No, but I'll do.
Ounce. Oh my God, John.
Well, it depends on the alpha. Some of them are like
alpha.
12, 15.
What you're putting these in hot, cold whirlpool and
Yeah, I don't do the total whirlpool hop additions like you all are doing these days. I still do a layered, old school. Yeah. And I will do whirlpool additions. I will do dry hop additions. And they're often, half ounce to 1 ounce quantities.
So one of the things we'll do is if we're doing a bittering addition, which we don't always in like the juicy beers, we'll do bittering additions in a lot of the classics, the porter, things like that, but we won't be adding a lot of flavor and aroma. So the only ones we're doing bittering additions tend to be like West Coast type IPAs. So we'll determine a bittering addition hop, and a lot of times it can be something like Columbus or Apollo, or just depends on what kind of layer you want to set for the bittering. A clean bitterness, but sometimes a carryover, some sort of resiny or piney, and then we'll look at generally one of the cheaper hops. Generally, we'll look at the more expensive hops as for later additions, and we'll pick one of the 3 to be, so for example, when we do Evil 3, we have our bittering, so it's really 4. I think generally we do about 4 hops. So there's a bittering, but then we have like Citra and Simcoe and Amarillo, and we want to see kind of like what your main character might be, which will be let's say Citra, and if you have something that's complementary, maybe like Amarillo, you do a Citra and Amarillo, you'll do equal amounts of those, and then maybe a little bit of Simcoe. You'll do like half as much Simcoe. So you have, let's say, 20 of Citra, 20 of Amarillo, and 5 of Simcoe. You might, another way we've done it is we'll pick one hop that's kind of the main leader. And we'll do that, and then the other 2 additions will be equal to that main leader one. So those are the kind of the ratios we'll tend to try is, one large charge and then the other 2 are halves of that. So, a 50% and 25-25, if that makes sense. That's probably a better way of stating it. Does that help with the ratios there, Ben? Jimmy says, have you used Idaho Gem at all? I believe one descriptor in the list is Cherry Jolly Rancher. What could it pair well with? Idaho Gem, Cherry Jolly Rancher. I have not used Idaho Gem. Cherry Jolly Rancher. I think, that's either going to be a floral or it's going to be a citrus that you're going to want to add to that. Floral is always a nice backing thing that kind of elevates, some of the other compounds without masking them.
More of the geraniol.
Right. And then, citrus is a nice, anytime you add citrus to something, or, it adds to the overall fruitiness, I think. It's like adding acid to, something with fruit in it. It makes the fruit kind of pop more. So maybe give that a try. Ben says he made a blonde ale with Idaho Gem. Came out fantastic. Try a wheat beer. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Ted is asking, does hop bursting or a hop stand have a huge effect on a blend? And does Heretic use that method often in IPAs? Yeah, so a lot of the IPAs these days, especially the hazy, juicy ones, we don't do any bittering addition. There's the only additions are in the whirlpool, and that's after cooling down to about 175 degrees Fahrenheit, and then in the dry hop. So those are the only hops that go in. So that's, complete hop bursting, or, and the hop stand is done in the whirlpool only, and at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. So that way you don't get as much bittering, and you get more flavor from them. So yeah, absolutely, we're doing that. All right, turned into a nice show talking about this. Thank you, Neil, for supplying us with another great idea, brother. And check out scottjanish.com. That hop oils calculator's there. His hop oil sorter is there, and a lot of great articles on hopping. So check him out. Good guy. He's been on the show before, and you can listen back through the archives and look for the show Scott was on, or two shows that we did. We talked about cold dry hopping, which I'm still investigating. I got some more tests to run, and cold dry hopping, and we talked about hop survivables, which was also quite fascinating. Great stuff, guys real clever. He's got a great book out there if you've never tried that. Anyways, another great show. Make sure to check out our fine sponsors, blickmanengineering.com. Again, send a nice email to John at blickmanengineering.com. You can send to John at blickmanengineering.com or feedback@blickmanengineering.com, and tell him how much you appreciate that he pays for the show. And check out our other fine live sponsor, which is Brew Chatter, brewchatter.com. Great folks up there near Reno. Wonderful place with lots of great ingredients, and they're always working to improve homebrewing. They're working on trying to train, come up with more training materials for BJCP judges. They're trying to investigate different types of ingredients. Just a lot of cool stuff. Good guys. So check them out as well. Until then, everybody, brew strong.
Brew strong, everyone.